mean, I think the game. This is a really good team. Columbus, well coached, and a terrific atmosphere tonight. Almost had that sort of playoff feel to it. A game that I thought we obviously got off to a really good start, and then for a period of time it took us a little while to get our footing. And credit to Columbus, very aggressive in the attack, but I really thought the guys dug deep tonight and defended well, and still was able to create some scoring chances. So a lot of positives to take, but also going to be a great opportunity for us to learn and get better because there's certainly some areas that we can improve. So, but again, I think two good teams going against tonight, and I think we had enough big chances, but the result is probably a fair one.
Yeah, BJ, I just wanted to ask what you thought about the response after Columbus equalized and really put on a lot of pressure for a long stretch. Just what did it say about your team that you were able to respond quickly like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this team is just growing in the ways that, like, with mentality, and a lot of times that we have to kind of dip into different mentalities where we defend deep for a little while, and then we get an opportunity, a heads up play to get the second goal. And then obviously we concede again, but then we're able to kind of close it out and even have a big chance there in the last, whatever, 30 seconds, a minute left in the game with Andy. And so for us, it's just a little bit of a game of momentum. But I think, at the end, it's going to be an opportunity for us to grow for sure.
Yeah. BJ, obviously this game, being dominated in possession and shots for so much of the game isn't the way you ideally want to play, but how much value is there to knowing that you can still get a positive result out of a game like this on the road and get a point?
Yeah, again, getting results on the roads is difficult in the MLS. I was really proud of the big chances that we were able to create tonight. We didn't finish them great, but there was opportunities even for more goals on our end. So I was proud of the group that the way they pushed and found opportunities. And showed how adaptable we can be. And so again, we'll continue to improve. This game will help us improve. It challenged us in a lot of ways, and I think there'll be some good learning opportunities for us.
BJ, with 7 on Walker in the second half for Jack, I'm just curious, is it more about just getting him more minutes under his belt in game situations, or was it more of Columbus posing more, I guess, attacks on the opposing side of the field? What was it for that?
I thought Jack played fine. That's what it is. It's an opportunity in the midweek to try and build the minutes for Walker as well. Jack's played some games here, and also just kind of how we plan to manage this month.
Yeah, you guys have been far more possession heavy this year than you were tonight. Obviously, some of that was game state, some of that is playing on the road, and some of that is the style of the opponent. How would you kind of, I guess, weight those factors in terms of the way you guys were able to possess and possibly the way that you guys maybe didn't need to emphasize possession as much as you often do?
Yeah, I would say two things can be true at once, right? The game state certainly quickly puts us on puts them in a very aggressive posture. You could see how many numbers they were throwing forward, and challenged us to move deep. And therefore, by result, you're going to win the ball deeper in your half, and they're going to have a lot of numbers counter pressing. I think there was moments that we were able to handle that well, and I think we also had some moments where we were either impatient with a pass or we gave a careless turnover. So we would have liked to probably be a little bit better in that. I think as the game kind of grew on, we found ways to kind of alleviate pressure from the counter press and get into our build-up shape. And I was really pleased that when we did get into those moments, I thought we were able to create some decent attacking sequences. But of course, what we want to do, I think there was probably opportunities to hold the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, BJ, you talked about some of the chances that you created, and it felt like this was another game where obviously you guys are able to create in multiple different ways, but you had a lot of opportunities just kind of going direct and kind of taking advantage of Columbus's high line. How pleased were you just with the ability to kind of create from a different look?
Yeah, I thought, again, we look at the game through all phases, and then we try to use how we can create those opportunities. And I was really pleased tonight with the ability to kind of in transition really threaten that space behind. And I think we had a couple opportunities, and even a couple opportunities that aren't going to show up on the stat sheet. Like if Jacob Schaffelberg towards the end of the game, almost into the penalty box, I think they make a good tackle, but that doesn't show up anywhere. And we're on the verge of a big time breakaway. So, and there was a few things that didn't just come off, but really proud of the group to find ways to exploit an opponent and try to find ways to win games.
Yeah, I got on late, so I apologize if this question or something like it was already asked. But I guess, what were the biggest maybe changes or adjustments that you feel you made at halftime?
I think just a little bit of how we were pressing, trying to shape the ball to different sides, and trying to find a few different pressing triggers and maybe close the middle down a little bit more. That was really a point of emphasis for us, is to try to limit the amount of play kind of going through the middle. But it's hard when they're throwing a lot of numbers. So credit to them for obviously how good they are, the combinations that they're able to play, and the bravery that they're able to play with, creating that amount of numbers and overloads on us.
BJ, Jonathan Perez got the start tonight. He's normally one of those forwards that kind of finds opportunities towards net to create, chances. But tonight he showed another aspect of his game defensively that just kind of highlighted the game for the most part. Just your comments on Perez's performance and just his growth so far this season.
Yeah, I think what you saw tonight was a profile of what we like of Johnny in a game that we knew we were probably going to have a threat behind the line and probably do a little bit of transition. I thought he did a great job with that, whether it's by running or even on the dribble. So with the ball, really nice. I would agree. I thought his defensive work was good tonight, and that's a point of emphasis that we've been really focused on with him, and he's been really focused on with his development. And for him to, I think, continue to development as a young player and moving, and getting more experience, this is going to be an area that he can grow on. And tonight's a performance that he can grow from. Thanks.
Yeah, I think a tough game in general. Credit to the group. We fought, and I think it also shows about the mentality about this group. Maybe if we're not on top of a team, we still fight, and it's very difficult to break us down. And that's credit to the team. And we definitely have to watch the film tomorrow to go through it, how we can get better pressure, how we, get the block a little bit higher, what we want to do. But in general, I think a good point on the road. We take it. Now we go back home, and yeah.
Yeah, Hany, you kind of mentioned just maybe playing in a lower block than we're used to seeing. Obviously, Columbus are just really tough to play against. What do you think it says about the team that even though you were kind of up against a lot of pressure, that you were still able to create a pretty good amount of scoring chances?
Yeah, I think this year we have shown that in each game we can create a lot of chances. I think that says a lot about us. We can have the ball, we can create chances out of switching from side to side going forward, but also we can be very dangerous, like we saw today in transition. I think that has been a good strength of ours in the last couple of years. So I think that is still a good strength. Especially you can see, when they're so high, the line is at half on the half line. So sometimes we have to take our learning lesson out of Red Bull and all these games. And we said that before the game, like if they give us a high line, just playing behind it. I think we created a couple of good chances.
Hany, how big was it against a team that likes to play the way Columbus does to be able to get a goal in the first 2 minutes of the game?
I think in the first 5 to 10 minutes, we did pretty good with the pressure, and we were all over them. But of course, we knew it will be a tough game. If you're up against them 1-0, you already know now they're trying to overload the sides, playing. They're trying to drag you out and create the space behind you if you press, and you could see like they're very good at short combination. But I think the mentality of the group is good. We said that before the game. We have to fight for each other. We have to, second balls. when they break, that we recover. And I think we have 11 players on the field who are willing to run and who are willing to fight for each other, and that is a good sign of a group.
Hany, BJ's mentioned about this team with its maturity throughout the season. As for you and his system, he's talked about getting behind the lines of the opposing team and just finding those pockets of space for you. That is, just how do you feel like you've adjusted to his system so far this season, and just your growth in general with this BJ Callaghan system?
I think I was always a fan who of a team who has the ball. That is like in my DNA. I like to have the ball. But I think the system where I think I developed over the last 15 games, where like we stretch the opponents, and that creates space in between the lines for me. And I like to be in the pockets. I like to be in in between the lines, turn, get the ball, and so we call it in the green zone, basically. Like get the ball and face forward and drive on that. And I think it's good to have someone who stretches it. And I think when we like when you just play ball possession without going in behind, it's hard, because for the defense it's nice just staying compact, and the lines are very like tight. But the way we want to play, we want to do both. We want to keep the ball, play with each other, but also if they give us space, going in behind. And I am always willing to make, and we saw that with the goal I scored today, to make the late run. I stay in the pocket. As soon as it goes over, I will be there. And the boys know, Schaffelberg, Ahmed, Johnny, Sam, they all know that I will arrive late. And I think I have scored against I think it was Red Bull, a goal like that where I come late, and that is good for my game. I work every day on it, like arriving into the box and helping the team with goals.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.